everyone. Universe, Win, thank you for being here.
Hi, friends.
One of my biggest supporters.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, man. Gotta light my candle called Cozy Nights. This will definitely not be a cozy night.
Further spitting in the face of God by lighting this candle. It's like lighting a Christmas candle, and I don't know.
Yo, don't knock Christmas candles. Get some of
Christmas
that.
candles are great.
That like apple pie scents, those apple scents, the pine tree.
Christmas?
Just get those cinnamon pine cones.
Those two.
I would consider apple pie to be like a fall.
Well, that too. I'm not big on holidays, so I kind of lump it all together.
That's fair.
Mostly because I can never remember when they are, like ever.
Well, Christmas is usually in December.
That's yeah.
Thanksgiving is usually in November. Usually. I mean, I forget my birthday most years, so I feel like that's just gonna get worse as I get older. I would if it wasn't 2 days after Christmas.
That's true.
Mine is a holiday of its own.
Well, I feel like that would make me forget more, is because then, probably celebrate Christmas and birthday all at the same time, and then it's just like, it's Christmas, my
That's
birthday.
what I'd
all the
prefer
same.
to do.
That would be nice.
Just get it all out of the way.
Get it all out of the way. So normally I would use my red DMing dice, but I want to spice it up. What color dice should I use tonight?
Hot electric pink.
Yeah, get your pink dice out, Logan.
I don't
Those
have
will
to.
be the ones that kill us.
I do have a pink D20. If you give me 1 second.
Look what you've done, Daniel.
Yeah. That thing's weighted for only like 19s. That way we don't know.
It's not crits. It's just
Successes every time anyway.
I don't know if you'll be able to see. It's a translucent pink there.
Ooh, I love
And Daniel,
that.
this might suffice. It's called cotton candy. It's kind of this pale yellow and purpley with little pink trails in it.
Ooh,
that'll do.
Okay.
I love that.
Might be a good substitute.
Logan's vibes over there right now are like cute, fun Feywild campaign.
Yeah.
Nice, a cozy candle, pretty dice, and we're all trudging through a horrible swamp
The horrible marsh. What's
in a
up,
horrible,
Rachel?
horrible world.
I've just recovered from Giardia.
Oh man. So, I'm gonna get on with it because it's been what a month and a half since we played, at least month at least.
Has been a while.
It's been a while. So getting fuzzy. Holt, thank you, Rachel. Got a couple announcements to run through super fast once we all drink. Drew, is that a full fucking? That's awesome.
Oh, this thing? Yeah. I would go through like 3 of these when we stream. It's great.
How do you not pee every 10 minutes like I do?
Because the rest of us don't
Determination
have
and willpower.
I don't know about that one, but
No, because I feel. Wait, the tiny bladders thing or the determination?
the
and willpower?
determination one. Just don't pee.
You
Just
say
suck
that,
it all, Becky.
but I had to hold it for 14 hours on a plane ride one time.
Drew, you're not supposed to hold pee and farts. It's bad for the baby.
Drew, they do have bathrooms on airplanes.
They do have bathrooms on an airplane, and that's what I tried to say to the flight attendant. But she kept
You
telling
have
me
a
to
bathroom. Where is
She
it?
kept telling me to sit down because there was really bad turbulence the entire flight, and I was like, "Man,
Oh,
I really do not want to
God.
pee my pants." And she was like, "Well, we can get you an extra blanket," and I was like, "You motherfucker!"
No, I'll use it to soak
No,
up my
it was
urine.
real bad turbulence. Like people were scared. Turbulence. Not a good time for my bladder. Like the shaking around.
It's not good for a full bladder.
There we go.
There we go.
No,
Is this better?
Is this better? So I have this headcanon now of you for 14 hours straight being that
Do it,
guy on the
Pete.
plane yelling, being like, where's your bathroom? I know you have one.
We don't have a bathroom. You have a bathroom.
No.
So anyway, the announcements I want to get through. Every week I say I'm going to write them down beforehand, and I never do. we're back. Things are back up and running with a whole bunch of new extra things. Thank you. We do look all good and fresh. We had a month off, which I don't know about you guys. It kind of sucked not playing D&D for a month, but also there was a part of me that was like, okay, a little vacation, just because, you know, time off. Sometimes you need it. So, because I had a lot of time off, I ended up making way too many commitments. So I'm doing more things now that I'm gonna have to talk about every time I play D&D. So Shard Nights is still going on. Shadows Over Driftchapel is still going on every other week, every other Monday. I've now started up a Wednesday weekly stream called Let's Make, where we sit down and just make shit. It's more of just kind of an open sit down and prep for your own games while I prep for my games or make some stuff. This past week we made a boss battle that this guy down here, Drew, is going to have to undergo here in about 2 weeks. It's not going to be fun. It's very challenging. Especially because I think what other people come up with is far more mean than what I'll come up with. Which of course means I'm going to use it. So there's that sort of weekly, bi-weekly stuff, and also formally announcing live on the air. It's not that dramatic. On the first Friday of every month. I know that's very infrequent and very strange scheduling stuff, but the first Friday of every month, I'm doing a date night. I'm going to be inviting random friends who I don't stream with, so sorry guys, you will not be invited, but invite some new people in my life to show their faces on stream, try out some new tabletop RPGs in a one-on-one duet setting, and we just play together, one-on-one, have a little date for 2 or 3 hours, so that way we can try out some new systems, we can meet some new people, and just have some fun.
Nice.
So first Friday of every month, starring, yes, Win, we'll make your first time playing a game right here live. I mean, that's kind of the point, though, is be like, yeah, let's try this out. Let's see how quick it is to learn all sorts of stuff. So first one is going to be next Friday. It might change. I might start doing bi-weekly. First Friday might conflict with Shadows Over Driftchapel, so may have to adjust. It's vague for the time being. Of course, next Friday will be my lovely partner, Rachel. The tabletop RPG is yet to be decided. However, we do have a very cute tabletop RPG called Cats of Cthulhu, where you play as a cat and solve eldritch mysteries. What? So that might be what we end up doing, because we've been wanting to for a while. But there's, of course, billions of tabletop RPGs that we want to try, so of course we will try to get to them. So I'm super looking forward to that. My Patreon, I'm getting into a groove posting on Patreon, doing some new stuff, doing some exciting stuff. This past week I did a Danny Phantoms themed druid subclass. I will be doing, kind of hinted at with the an item I posted. I made an axe based off of the science of the Aurora Borealis, or Auroras. I'm going to make a druid subclass based on the same thing as well, sort of like electromagnetism, things like that. Also going to make a druid subclass based off of microbiology, microbes and germs and bacteria, which is going to be super fun. It's a little bit more small scale compared to Circle of Spores and things like that. Specifically, you can use your wild shape to turn into a microscopic creature and parasitically latch on to enemies. It's going to be very fun. Going to be super fun. Nice. So that's coming out, and I also try to post some of the homebrew magical items I make for streams. So tonight, these folks are going to be getting 2 new magical items that will appear on my Patreon tomorrow. So it's going to be very fun and exciting. One of them is grossly overpowered, but it's going to be fun. There's nothing better than a one-time use of a 9th level spell. Nothing better than that.
That's how I ruined Aaron's Curse's
Exactly. Other announcements. I published a new Dungeon Masters Guild adventure. It's very simple. It is one of the first adventures, actually, that I ran for Bradley. It's a playoff of that first adventure, at least. That I decided to just rewrite, give it a fancy new look, and post online. So it's a very classic princess kidnapped, princess locked in a tower. orcs are the antagonists. However, it's a little more nuanced than just go kill the orcs, rescue the princess.
Rescue the warlock?
Yes, similar. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
So, very basic structure, but with little tricks here and there. So it's on the DM's Guild, and my Patreon supporters get a sweet discount because I can't give away free stuff from the DM's Guild because licensing and yada yada yada. You know how it be. So yes, that's on the Dungeon Masters Guild. I have put the link. So you will see a random timer go by and say, hey, check out my new adventure, and it'll be there. So that's exciting. More announcements. Thanks to one of my players in Char Knights, Jacob, we now have what I'm calling a recap bot. You'll see a timer thing over in the chat that says, if you don't know what's going on, use the command, !recap, and you'll do a quick recap of what's happening in the campaign and what happened last session. It's very brief. Good God, it's very brief. It's 500 characters max. So essentially, it is just a quick sentence about what the theme of the campaign is, and then a quick 2 or 3 sentences about what happened last session. Super brief, but if you need a little quick reminder, quick pick-me-up of what happened most recently in the campaign, wham! There it is, recap bot.
Nice.
Very excited for that. It's going to be very cool. More work for me to do in preparation for sessions, but that's okay. It's all for you guys. And honestly, I think part of it's also going to be more useful for the players than anyone.
I was going to say, I mean that too.
Yeah, I mean, you may see Noble just recap 3 to 4 times a session. You never know.
I knew that was going to be. I'm glad you all agreed. I immediately thought that as I was writing it. I'm like,
Absolutely.
this is going to be way more useful for us than anyone else. Oh, Jesus. Holy cow. That was a lot. I think that's it. Yeah, my brain just went dead, so I think that means it's time.
That's a sign.
Daniel, you haven't been streaming as much recently, right?
No, nothing planned just yet. Yeah, nothing planned just yet.
All right. Just always want to check. Always wanted to be able to do shout-outs. But I have noticed you've been posting more stuff on TikTok recently.
Oh yeah,
So always.
I'm low-key obsessed. So yeah.
So of course, shout out Daniel _Buchan. You can find him on just about anything, mostly on TikTok. Very funny stuff. Occasionally he'll post about this campaign, and it cracks me up.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here. Let me add it in. Daniel _Buchan. Wham, bam. There it is. And that's what his thing is on everything.
Yeah.
So, I think with that, we're good to go unless you guys have any other shout-outs to the universe. The Twitchverse. The Twitch void.
Hey, universe. Fuck you.
Why would you say that?
Because it's about to.
Hey, you just beat the world record for the most nat ones rolled in a row.
Yeah, Bradley, little do you know is that I have like 25 Horton rolls over here, and they're all natural one. They're all
I just
free.
kept rolling until I got ones, and then I'd write it down.
Write it down real quick. So with that, I think it's time to go ahead and start. I kind of want to keep the recap fairly brief. We had a short session last time because Drew got terribly ill. Shout outs to the universe. But shorter session, more of a lore dump session than anything. But after narrowly surviving an encounter with an eldritch horror in the Irwhile, not even in the bog, at the edges, at the outer rims of the Irwhile Bog, they encountered a horror. One that they have not seen before, or that Deter has not seen before. But they did see those pesky anglerfish humanoids once more. They attempted to kidnap Amina after getting her down, by pulling her down into this hole that had formed after this horror had erupted from it. When things died down, that hole filled with seawater. That Deter, of course, determined by drinking it, as you do. But they did find a structure, a ruined structure nearby. But with, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, they went back, rested for the night, did whatever nightly rituals they needed to do, and the following morning went back to investigate the structure. Turns out it's a chapel, or was a chapel, a prayer house for the goddess Aliana, a sea goddess long, long ago, before the Gloam crept in. Of course, now roof missing, many walls missing, now overgrown and weathered. They found a altar containing many offerings people have dropped by in the many years that it was active. They also found 2 poor, we could probably assume were heroes at one point, much like yourselves, in very similar predicament, fighting this cult of Katu. They were chasing them to Driftchapel, believing them to be onto something, to be doing something. But of course, day after day, week after week of fighting these horrors eventually caught up to them, and the final 2 members of this group perished in this chapel, likely due to starvation, exposure, things like that. Of course, as any good hero does, you looted the bodies and desecrated the chapel further, took all the stuff, nearly succumbed to some deadly insects that had laid nest in one of the skeletons, and went back to your camp and cart and made the decision to proceed forward. But we'll rewind just a moment, because since, Drew, you were not there, we'll loop you into the decision-making process. One thing that had been noted was Deter had said that if you guys were going to continue your trek forward deeper into the bog, he was going to stay back. He was going to return to Driftchapel and not risk his life anymore. But Amina and Kamin had sort of either agreed or just been like, fuck it, if that's considered agreement, decided to proceed forward deeper into the Irwhile Bog, searching for answers. And so if we need to, Drew, it's up to you, revisit that decision, we can, or if you need to ask any questions or anything before we proceed.
Nope. Sludig agrees with going forward. He's got some private thoughts on the matter as to why he might want to meet some of these witches.
Perfect.
Foreboding.
Foreboding. Deter will mention again that he will probably, part ways with you. Do any of you want to fight him on that?
Yeah. Square up, Deter.
Not literally fight. Yeah, you summon your horrible alien being and get him to fight one-on-one.
No,
this is
not
my
even.
proxy
I
fight.
roll my sleeves back. Fuck you, Deter. Let's fucking go. No.
If he feels like he can get back safely by himself, I would just hate to find Deter 6 feet on the side of the road on our way back.
He just tripped and fell on a rock on the way back home.
Dead, done.
Oh god.
It's a $1 million baby.
So he's traveled roads like this before, so he is fairly well experienced in that regard.
You don't live to an age like that in these parts if you don't know what you're doing in the woods.
Exactly. Before you all part, though, he does kind of hesitate and eventually says, "Now, I don't really like talking like this, but is there anything you want me to take care of in case you don't come back to town?"
Pay off our bar tab?
makes a little note.
It's not like we've put roots down in Driftchapel.
Most of what I have that I would want to be given to anybody, the person it would be given to, well, they've been taken by this cult.
I have something procured from our last scuffle with that monstrosity that, if you wouldn't mind, would you kindly deliver to our dearest friend, the Ortist of Driftchapel, Agnes. And she's going to hand him the vial of ashy creature snot.
Nice, nice.
She has been an enormous help, and this would at least suffice for some amount of repayment, as I know she has asked for perhaps anything we can gather.
He jots it down. Oh. Good luck. If I had anything more to give you, I would. He starts to rifle through his pack a little bit. And he pulls out, you see clearly, an Ortis vial. Something that probably he has either bought, procured from Agnes, or has found in his travels. But holds it out and says, "Yeah, I've been holding on to this just in case, but this bog is really terrible, so I'd probably help you out a little bit more. Should, if you bump into any nasty creatures or nasty plants or anything, it'll cure any kind of afflictions you might contract. Yeah, Sludig, you might have found that useful a little bit ago, but, you know, hindsight, right?"
That would have been nice, but I guess if we find something worse than one evening of, well, watery bowels, well, then we'll take it for that.
As long as you don't think you'll need it yourself, we'll be more than happy to take it.
If I'm being honest, I've starting to wonder if I've put in my time. Well, anyway, I don't
Kamin debates in his own head whether or not to disagree with him. Be like, "No, you're fine. No, you almost died. You should go home."
And you can tell, like, he's kind of having the same, like, realizations and conflicts in his own mind.
I'll give him a good, like, pat on the shoulder, come over by him and say, "You've put in your time. Enjoy your retirement."
Take care of yourself, Deter.
You all as well, and hopefully see you soon.
Oh,
Be safe, darling.
And so he parts ways, and whoever is holding the potion, you notice that it's red like a potion of healing, except it almost has a glow to it. It sheds a slight light that kind of thrums. Kind of the pattern of a heartbeat. Amina, of course, as you pack up camp, get into your horse and cart, and tread farther down the main road to the Irwhile Bog, you take the time to check the pocket watch, the coat, or the cloak, and this potion as well. You guys know what the pocket watch and cloak do now, and the potion that Deter has bestowed upon you is a potion of vitality. Ooh. Which you know is something that is very difficult to make and not a very common make as far as Ortis and the Ortisterium go. You can probably find that on fairly easily. Yes. I will send that in the little loot and handout thing, a little link, little D&D Beyond link.
Long.
So it not only helps you against exhaustion, disease, and poison, it also helps you heal whenever you use hit dice during a short rest. And so for you guys,
That's
have a night's
amazing.
sleep. And so with that, doing a little expeditedness. With your horse and cart, it's still a fairly easy path as far as travel goes. Going along the main road. The horses, I can't remember if it's more than one or two.
Pretty sure it's just one.
It's one.
Did we ever name the horse?
I don't think we did on purpose. This is a D&D horse. We all know those.
We can steal from the Witcherverse, and they can all be Roach.
They can all be Roach. This horse is Roach. Maybe we can't because it's copyrighted, so we'll say like
Probably.
Witch. No, that's.
We use the other half of the word, cock. Oh, wait.
All right, cock. Yeah, cock.
Oh, wait. Carson.
The horse Carson, yes, of course.
Yeah.
So you will have plenty of time, which is more or less uneventful time. Of course, you might have a strange Gloam creature run out and try to attack or things, some kind of crows that have been morphed by the Gloam, or any kind of rodents that, giant Gloam-infested rats might emerge from the forest, but for the most part, easily taken care of with your skills. So effectively, you have 2 days to ride through the marsh until you get to the center of the Irwhile Bog, where it gets the most murky and watery. So Amina takes time to identify all those things in the first couple hours, first day of travel. You divvy out who's getting what, divvy out coin, however you did. And then if there's anything that anyone would like to discuss during that time, you may go ahead and do that now, or else we will move on to the next scene.
I think now would be a good time to discuss, actually, should we actually run into any of the bog witches? We need to discuss how is it we're going to first interact with them, because I have a feeling that, well, first of all, they're not going to take too kindly to violence right off the bat. And somehow I doubt that they are, shall we say, entirely corrupted. I have a hunch that if we set off on the right foot and don't do anything rash, they might actually be able to provide us some answers to what is going on in terms of the cultists and, well, amongst other things, and gestures to her face, because
yes, I think diplomacy is by far our best bet in this arrangement.
Sludig agrees, and he goes on and explains. Back before Ilya was taken, she was training under a woman who could do strange magics. I plan on asking these witches if they have any idea if maybe Hasina trained under them, or why maybe these cultists decided to take Ilya where the rest of our village was burnt down.
Could you make yourself a hair louder for me
Yes.
somehow?
I will talk louder?
Just if you could just be louder in any way, shape, or form, whatever.
Do I need to repeat that?
No, it was just a little on the quiet side, so.
Just to field this thought, because I do feel it's necessary to have thunk this thought out loud. Are we for certain that these bog witches aren't working with the cult?
that's the rub. We won't know for sure. So we need to prepare for the worst, as we have been, but hope for the best. Again, we should be prepared to strike with with self-defense if needed, but we don't need to start that way, especially if we want to get answers.
Strike first with hospitality, not hostility.
Eloquently spoken.
And I believe I said before, if not, you guys will kind of know this collectively. There's sort of a Venn diagram concerning the cults of Katu, the Gloam, and the Bog Witches. Clearly the cult and this Katu figure are tied to the Gloam in some way, shape, or form, getting powers from it, being infected by it, whatever else. The Bog Witches also use the Gloam to their advantage as sort of a dark magic-y. They sort of harness it as well. But the cult and witches don't really connect. They don't... they're never in the same place at the same time. What that means, who knows. But at the very least, the witches are neutral at best, seemingly. And if any of you want to make either an Arcana or History check for me for a little more information about the Bog Witches.
Not me.
I can try an Arcana.
Go for it.
And that is a lot. That's 27.
Drew, did you roll?
No, I got nothing. Unless I get some bonus for potential personal history, but no.
Go for it. Get it. Roll an advantage. Why not? History or Arcana.
19
Awesome.
for history, that is.
So what Amina knows is the Bog Witches are tricksy. They use their magic in very maddening and tricky ways. In particularly, they are known to toy with people who enter the bog, leading them astray, pulling pranks on them, but also pulling deadly pranks on them. But for people who they find interesting or who seem worthy or strong, whatever the reasoning is, they will, not kill them. They will show them some mercy. With that Arcana check as well, this is a little bit sort of rumored knowledge, but one of the images that has been paired up with the Bog Witches is the places that they live in or habitate. They are rumored to live in what are referred to as tombstone-like structures. So something that is similar to a gravestone or a tombstone. From a distance, it's something that some building or structure that is seen from, hundreds and hundreds of feet away through the fog and the marsh. But no one has really been able to say for certain what those structures are. And they kind of dot the Irwhile Bog here and there. Sludig, what you know, is they don't necessarily get involved with other people's business unless there is a benefit to it to some capacity. Whatever that benefit may be is truly up to them. But it's pretty rare that they do anything without their own motives behind. They don't do things out of the kindness of their hearts.
Interesting. Okay.
I shared
So-
to everybody the fickle nature of these witches.
So if we have questions or favors to ask, we better bring some kind of payment in exchange.
Oh, don't worry. That shouldn't be too hard as she jingles the bag of gems that we just pilfered.
I doubt the price will be anything so simple, but if we get away with just having to give them money, I say we take it.
I fear they'd want more than some gold or gems, but hey, it's worth a shot.
If they are as fickle as and self-serving as people make them out to be, I'm sure that there's a, dare I say, perhaps even a deal we could strike. But again, we have to be careful because they are tricksters, and they could pull the wool over our eyes in not so pleasant way. So just keep your eyes and all your senses open, because I have a feeling we're going to need them at our peak once we get into the bog proper.
Speaking of eyes, at some point on this journey, I would like to ritually cast Find Familiar and bring Malachi back out.
Aw, yeah.
You boy.
Back.
Horrible, disgusting gazer. Aw, cute boy.
Cute boy. Little,
Beach-
little
beach
cute
ball.
boy. Beach ball boy.
Um,
Man.
And Logan, before we proceed, I want to ask a technical question, because if this works, I'm definitely going to do something before we continue further.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom while he asks the technical question.
Being being underwater doesn't necessarily mean like completely submerged. It can like also be like, say if the water is like up to our knees or our waist, like that would technically cause a movement impairment.
Up to your knees or waist.
Like however tall the water would be once we get into like the actual like deep part of the bog.
The only kind of movement impairment it would do would just be slow your movement speed, but it wouldn't do the whole, like, you know, you have disadvantage on attack rolls and you can't see and stuff like that. It would just be you move a bit slower because you're just...
But it would still provide that, like, deficit, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So... At some point on our way... Hi, Lily. Yes, I love you, girl. Indeed. Okay, at some point along the way, let's say I want to say I want to do this closer to like when it gets thicker and thicker and thicker, but I know that because of the description of this, it takes time to do it. I'm going to use the oil of slipperiness to cast freedom of movement on me. But I'm going to wait until like the bog gets like very thick and we can clearly like not keep moving.
Here's what I'll say. For 8 hours. Holy cow. Yes. Definitely, and you can definitely see this happening. Is there any other, is there stuff anyone wants to do before we, oh gosh, the video's gone. There it is. Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what just happened. Is there any, final things people want to do before we move on to the next thing?
I am ready to continue.
I'm all set.
Okay. So yes, that first day passes. The second day starts to pass. And okay, Drew, roll a d8 for me.
A D8.
Fuck
D8.
Throws it on the ground. 3.
Rad. So
We all die.
late morning, sometime mid-afternoon. It's hard to tell with the overcast in the marsh and how thick everything has gotten. But as you get deeper, you start noticing bubbling mud and water on either side of the road. So you can tell that the water is beginning to creep in. So at this point, Amina, you know that, okay, it's probably getting close to time. Because it's not just the water's here, it's also that the water's here and your horse and cart might not be able to make it too far. Which is funny because you guys were just talking about D&D horses. And so you lather up with your oil of slipperiness. You get some good old freedom of movement on yourself, which lasts for a freaking heckin' long time. Free move for 8 hours. Woo-wee mama. So you oil up, and I'm going to go ahead and say, here's how.
Look at my back here.
Here's my back, my shoulders right there. Daniel, first, if you'll make an investigation check for me, you'll need a 18 or higher.
Okay. Yeah, it's a 19.
Awesome. Now this is a weird thing I'm about to ask you to do. Grab your D4, your little pyramid, roll it twice, and take the lower result.
Okie doke.
Roll a d4 at disadvantage.
Yes, that's what I asked. Yes.
You want to know what's hilarious?
What?
Both of them were 4s.
Oh no,
Nice.
Daniel!
Oh no!
After lathering up with your oil of slipperiness, getting freedom of movement, feeling slick as a snake, the road continues for a while longer. In fact, it continues for 4 more hours.
Oh.
So at the point that it can't continue, 4 hours left for the oil of slipperiness, which should still be plenty of time. However, at this point, who is driving the cart? Taking turns?
I would imagine.
I figured we'd take
turns.
turns, yeah. Probably somebody with a good passive animal handling skill, i.e. not me.
I mean, I have an okay wisdom.
Do you want to roll for
That's
it?
it.
Is it better than a -2?
Oh, significantly.
There you go.
Fair enough. I guess I'm driving.
Alrighty, Sludig, you're Kamin's like, yes, this beautiful animal, Sludig. This is a horse. Come on, man.
Ah, yes. Horse.
Aha!
Well,
So, Sludig, you are driving, and you feel the horse start sticking into the mud more and more until eventually it stops altogether. At this point, mid-afternoon, roughly 3 o'clock. And when you all peek out over and look around at your surroundings, you look up ahead, and first off, general surroundings, you are in swamps now. Lots of water, lots of algae clinging to the top, little pockets of mud here and there, thick overhanging trees blocking view around you, and because of the nature of the swamp, it's nearly dark, even though it's mid-afternoon. Just because of how much overhang and overcast there is, you can hardly see. But peering ahead, looking at the road you've been following, it comes to a stop, almost like a dead end. And you look, and it's just murky water, pockets of mud, trees ripping up out from the water, and just shadowy nooks and crannies all around you from rocks and trees and shrubs. And you've effectively reached a dead end.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
All right, friends. It looks like if we do keep going, we're going to have to go on foot. And since these bog witches, they like to play tricks on people, I would highly suggest that we take some precautions to stay together. And so Amina pulls out the 75 feet of rope that she's been saving. But hey, that extra 25 feet is going to come in handy now. And I suggest that we tie this around our waist so that we at least can stay together. Because going forward, we have no idea what's about to happen, and I really, really would prefer not to be alone here.
That's a good idea. Being stranded out in this place sounds to me like a death sentence.
I suppose.
So we'll say doing a bit of rounding. By the time you tie each person around the waist, you'll probably have 20 feet in between you.
Okay.
Who is going to be on the ends? Who is going to be in the middle?
Back end.
I mean, we're all tied together, so at this point, stealth isn't exactly an option. I can take the front end. As long as it's not dark, I've got pretty good eyes.
Right. I mean, personally, I don't mind which part I'll be in. I guess I can be in the middle, if that's all right with you all.
That is fine.
So
we've got Kamin and Sludig on the ends, Amin in the middle, so that's either a KAS or an SAK. Do you guys want to be a sack?
Sack. Or
Sack.
The sack line?
Sack.
So you start
Check
tying yourselves together, getting yourself ready. Generally, you imagine, this is, again, theoretically, if you can find sort of safe paths to get to throughout the swampy waters, your horse and cart could very slowly make its way through, provided the animal handling can control the horse and cart through. That's up to you guys if you want to try and take your horse and cart through. Otherwise, might be...
Part of me is feeling like we should have let Deter take it back.
It'll be fine for a little while. Right? Yeah, it'll be fine.
If nothing else, it gives us a good shelter for the first night, and then we may have to abandon it.
very true. Very
Excuse
true.
you? What? The cart or the horse?
The cart, of course. We can't leave the horse out in this place. It will just be food for anybody.
Okay. Oh, God. I thought Sludig was like, yeah, we're going to taunt on this guy right quick. Gotta climb inside.
I thought they smelled bad. I gotta stop there.
Outside.
No, I can't do that. That's Disney now. We're fucked.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
immediately canceled. So you guys finish tying yourselves together. You negotiate whether to slice open your horse or not. And if I could get each of you to make a perception check for me.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy. 23.
Ooh!
4.
24.
So, Kamin, you were at the edge of your sack line.
I did a lot of
Actually,
that in college.
since it's sack, you'd be at the back.
Back, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Kamin, what causes you to get so distracted at the backside of
probably-
the sack line?
Get yanked on by a rope. Gabe is trying to like walk through this swamp, and both of these dexterous fuckers are skittling through all of it. I'm like, oh fuck, okay, give me a second.
Awesome. In the meantime, Amina Sludig, you are picking up on all the strange sounds and sights that have been completely absent the day or two before. The first thing, we'll talk about what you see first. Actually, what's the most prominent sense? Smell?
I feel like that varies from person to person, but I have no idea.
That's fair. We'll go from biggest to smallest. So what you see, of course, thick, almost grayscale swamp, trees, mud, and overgrown grass all around you, and bodies of water where it completely masks any kind of clear sign of land. Pretty much to the point where if you step forward onto a patch of mud, it could very well just be a big old sinkhole and you get sucked down into it. However, what is not typical swamp aesthetic, you notice first hanging from a nearby tree is a charm, some kind of hanging, almost like wind chime or dream catcher type charm, made entirely of small bones. So some kind of animal bones, vermin, birds, something.
Dislike.
You notice the same tree that this charm is hanging from, and several other trees around this dead end, there are faces carved into the trees. In a variety of facial expressions and structures. Some have fangs and angry eyes, others are almost weeping. This one's for Amina.
Ooh.
You catch the slightest bit of color on a patch of grass nearby. It seems to be across a little bit of water, a couple feet, 5 to 10 feet of water, but you see a patch of grass that has these pale purple flowers growing from it. And there's something about it that rings a bit of memory. You've seen that kind of image before. And now what you hear, smell, and experience. Both of you also hear bubbling of air. And you start looking around, you can see bubbles breaking the surface of the muddy water. And they're causing these audible sounds from wherever you're standing. And then the smell. You know, you'd expect, you know, dampness, mold, moss, generally just greenery kind of smell. Nature smells, even sulfury smells. The smells that are wafting on the stale breeze through the swamp, it smells like death. Things are dying here, whether plants, animals, people. It does not smell good or pleasant. So there's something very wrong about this swamp as well. And then that is what you perceive. That was a lot. This little dead end.
A bouquet for the senses, but not necessarily a pleasant one.
So, seeing this likelihood of sinkholes, I'm going to look around and see if I find any sort of branch that could double as a walking staff to kind of poke the ground ahead of us to make sure we're getting something at least half stable.
Drew, just roll a d20 for me.
The shitty
9.
stick. Bad stick.
You find a pretty decent sized branch that could very well serve as a walking stick.
Snatch. We have a general idea of the direction we need to head, right?
You have the map.
We have the map, but
Whoever would like can make an investigation check on the map. Presumably only one of you could probably make this check. The more of you who want to make it, just the more time it takes to look at it.
I mean, my intelligence is pretty high, so I can give it a shot.
Go for it. Make an investigation check.
21.
Nice. Tracking the path you've made here, it's still rough. This was the cult's map originally that's sort of been cross-referenced and rewritten in different places. You kind of tracked how far you've come, the amount of miles you've come, especially since just the horror incident 2 days before. And you kind of pinpoint your location to be just about near the center, if not near the center, of the bog itself, where all the water is at its worst. So since you don't really know exactly what you're searching for, you're there. You just have to figure out what you're searching for, where you're going.
Well, the closest hint that we have at finding any bog witch of any kind is to find these tomb structures that people rumor that they live in. So Guess we have to trudge until we find something like that.
Let me take a moment. I'm gonna stop for a minute as we're trudging, and I will have Malachi float up out of the tree line, and I'll look through his vision right quick to see if I see any clearings or, I don't know, some tombstones, a hut with chicken legs walking around in the bog, any of that kind of stuff going on.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Make a perception check for Malachi, and I'm going to go Toilet Cat super fast. There's a new Toilet Cat emote. It's very cute and animated looking.
What?
Really? Ooh.
Oh!
That's so cute. I love it.
Dude, Malachi is way better at looking at things than I am. But then again, he has 5 eyeballs, so he better be.
All right.
Is that an emote? Oh my god. When did that happen?
I love it. I always do emotes.
Yes. My boy, my sweet boy. Sweet baby boy.
Oh man, people are on top of it with the emotes for the channel.
This is some good shit. Is this I'm pretty sure that emote is just the quick
The token.
the
Yeah.
token that
Yeah.
Logan just drew up really quickly.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say there was a Malachi emote.
There's a Malachi emote. My life is complete. I can go home now. He got a 20.
Rad. He sees a vaguely tombstone-shaped structure, probably a couple miles from your current location. If you're looking through his eyes, which I assume you're doing, if you'll make
I
an
am.
investigation check for me.
Okay. I am proficient in that.
Or a survival. I assume you're not.
I pick investigation. That is a 15.
So, you get the general direction. So essentially you're heading northeast. The direction of this tombstone-esque structure is sort of northwest-ish. Sort of opposite of the main road. And whenever you look in that direction, you look and see two things. Those purple flowers and that weird vermin bone talisman hanging from the tree.
Unfortunately, I think I found it. We need to go that way. I'll come back into Kamin's eyes. Vague tombstone shapes, more flowers, more horrible, creepy talismans, the works.
So, looking in the direction Kamin's pointing, do I see any sort of dry land kind of heading in that direction? Or are we going to have to go out of the way?
Make an investigation check for me.
Well, nat 20 will help because I'm not exactly smart. Yep, I have no proficiency, so 21.
Woo! With a 21, you look at not just the direction you were pointed, but looking at the rest of the area around you. And you notice two major factors. The area that you were pointed has a lot of grass and foliage bristling up from it. Whereas you look in the other directions and you don't see as much. There's occasional like little trees, little spurts of grass here and there, but not as thickly concentrated. The other thing you notice is that those areas where it's not concentrated, that's where the sort of bubbling water is at. Bubbling mud. But when you look back in the direction you were pointed, you don't see that. So clearly it's more solid. The soil and dirt is closer to the surface. So it's theoretically a safer place to step.
It definitely looks as though there's a little bit of a subtle path to this place we're going. Maybe that's the trap in and of itself with these people.
The trap was coming here at all.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I guess we
Follow the
get
weird
on the
trail.
road with the path as long as we can with the horse and cart.
I just came with the horse and cart. So Sludig, are you going to continue driving the cart?
Yes.
I got this. Get out.
Okay.
Oh, I'm absolutely kidding.
Sludig, go and make an animal handling check for me.
Let's go ahead and get the horse out of the way.
14. Alright. Pretty good enough for now. So you travel just a little ways. You turn the horse, wedge it between the areas of the trees next to that, the talisman hanging from the tree. You make it to that first little earthy spot where the purple flowers are growing out of. Amina, if you'll make a nature check for me.
That's just gonna be. I forget. If I'm not proficient, I just add my straight intelligence. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Well, it's still pretty bad. That's a 7.
You remember learning about this. You've read a book even recently, and you've seen pictures of it, but you can't recall what its use is. But you know it's important in alchemy.
Well, if I know it's important, then if we have a second or two, I'm gonna just, snip a couple of those just to have some on hand.
Whatever it is.
Question flower.
So you park the cart on this little earth cropping. Go ahead, Amina. Make a survival check.
Oh, I hate the sound of that.
Normally, I would have said at disadvantage because you don't know what it is, so you don't know how to harvest it. But because of your training, you have a general idea of how to harvest stuff, so it kind of balances out.
Okay. No, I'm gonna be inspired because I've been saving that.
I gotta know what this fucking plant does.
You're fucking kidding me. It's still a 4. Oh, okay. Lay it on me, Doc. What's happening?
A 4? That's the total?
You think,
Wait,
looks
hang on.
yummy.
You said survival, yeah?
Yeah, so it's plus your wisdom, and then if you're proficient...
Okay, well, it's still not that much better. It's a 6.
That's the difference between you eating the poison mushroom and just sticking it in your pocket.
True.
Amina. Need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me.
Oh, good God. Okay. That's still a D20, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Logan's like, these are the death flowers. If you touch them, you die.
You're dead.
Plus 1 is a 19. Okay.
So, it's sort of just a series of unfortunate events. As you're getting your tools out and you're starting to work and clip away at this plant, you happen to nick your finger. No biggie, you move on with your life. But then eventually you cut open part of this flower and its stalk. And this foggy white liquid runs out of the stalk, and onto your fingers. And immediately probably even Kamin and Sludig start to hear Amina after a few moments start breathing kind of heavy. Moving just a bit slower. Amina, the flowers get so purple. They're so beautiful. And you kind of just want to take a bouquet. And maybe that would be a good enough gift for these bog witches. And Kamin and Sludig, it's probably been a little too long. And then after a moment, Amina, you kind of... all right. Unfortunately, all of that liquid has leaked out onto the ground. You weren't able to get a substantial amount of it. But after a few moments, catching your breath, looking at it, you've realized that you have found the flower that is the source of swamp milk. The sort of psychedelic, poisonous toxin.
Hell yeah. Let's go smoke some swamp milk, boys.
Awesome.
Awesome, dude.
So that's what this is. Oh. Well. Should have been a little bit more careful.
Amina turns around. The one eye that's showing is just a little, like the pupil's a little too dilated and big.
You okay there?
Budget flowers.
I'll be okay. We should just be careful around these, please. And she'll do her best to just kind of wrap them in whatever like kind of loose cloths she has to like kind of keep them somewhat preserved and hope that they last the trip.
I brought you flowers. So with that, proceeding through, so Sludig, you have made one successful check as you leave the main road of navigating the horses. Now, it's not just navigating the horses, it's also you navigating in general and spotting these spots that are safe to walk. So Sludig, and if anyone wants to help Sludig,
I'll help, Sludig.
So Sludig, if you'll make a survival check at advantage. Vice versa, if there's anyone else who would rather make that check instead.
Okay.
I don't know how much help I'll be, high as hell, but
I got a 19. Get a lay of the land.
The lay of the land. Yeah, and I mean, it fades very quickly. It was just a very small dosage, but it was just a little taste.
there.
So Sludig, you continue navigating. After about half an hour or so, and so with the tying the rope, the harvesting of the attempt at harvesting the stuff, and then the half hour, Amina, we'll say you have 3 hours of your freedom of movement left. Sludig, you eventually come up to a spot of land where you look up and look around, and it's more of the same dark, dreary swamp, except at this little spot of land you see that some of the trees around you have faces carved into the trunks. You immediately look up and start looking around, and you spot another one of those bone hanging talismans. And then the last thing, after taking a moment to look around and get your bearings, you hear a voice resonate from one of the nearby trees. Who are you? Why are you here?
I am Sludig. I come with questions. Who are you? It's the first of many.
And then there's no response.
And I quickly look to my companions. You guys heard that, didn't you? A voice coming from the trees.
You did.
The
Yes.
first time.
Were we meant to also speak to the trees?
No idea, but it sounded like they wanted some sort of response.
I have a feeling they know exactly who's coming here. It's just a matter of what's about to happen.
I don't like that.
I feel as though this means we're going the right way if they're suddenly talking to us now.
Certainly.
Define right way.
Fair enough. About what time is it? I know there's like tree cover, so we might not exactly be able to see the sun.
Easily enough. Taking a few moments, and of course Malachi can shoot up and check. It's about 4 o'clock or so.
Okay, so we got time.
So, two things. Amina,
Yes.
as that little small dose of swamp milk is wearing off, you're glancing around and you see a boot sticking up out of the mud nearby.
Okay.
And a moment passes of you looking at it, and it moves back and forth in the water like it's waving at you.
Huh. Is it in the same general direction that we're heading?
No. Well, you're kind of parked for the time being.
Okay.
I'm sure Sludig has kind of gestured like maybe, this way, but it's kind of way a little off to the side.
It's a little off to the side. Let's see if this is something that I can do. Think do 5E. Oh no, I have to touch it. Okay, no, I am not doing that.
Well, as you are, it settles, and as you're racking your brain about, well, all right, what can I do? What can I do? How can I? It waves back and forth again. This time, swamp milk starts wearing off, and you sort of get a quick sobering experience. And I would like you to make a sanity roll for me.
Oh, goodness. Okay, what's my That's madness die, yeah?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, that's my D8. Right. Okay. That's a 4.
Okay, so you're fine. Just don't roll 1 or 2. So you are good. You settle. The boot is no longer moving, but there is in fact a boot sticking up out of the water.
Okay. Amina is just gonna be like, rubbing her hands, be like, or did I just what? And just in the end, she dismisses it as like, this must be a trick. That's probably some poor soul. Whatever it is, if it is actually moving, it's not worth going near right now.
And we'll say Sludig eventually, in your checking the surroundings for trying to find which way you need to go, you do spot the lone boot sticking up out of the water, sole up. But Sludig, if you will go ahead and make a survival check for me.
Ooh, 25.
Awesome. So you find out which path you need to go toward. It's essentially away from where the boot is. So where the boot is just water, just mud. So you start going in the other direction. If you'll once again make another animal handling check for me.
I could have really used that 19 there. 10.
You feel the horse start to jerk and reel back. Everything stops. Amina came and everything lurches and you rock back and forth in the carriage. And Sludig, you can feel the horse has stepped into some kind of sinkhole of mud. It is not just sloshing through some mud. It is being sucked and pulled down. It's sort of one of those things as mud starts getting loosened below its feet, the water starts pulling down, and it is just getting yanked down into the water.
You're a fucking never-ending story, this, aren't you?
Oh no!
So, what do you guys do as your horse is being sucked down into the mud?
We gotta try and pull the horse out,
Yeah,
right?
I guess is one side of the horse and where it's standing drier and more sturdy than the other, or is it just like the whole front end is like going down?
Pretty much the latter.
Oh no!
So I kind of grab onto the hitching that has it connected to the cart, and I try and like pull to the side
Okay.
as much as I can. I don't know what good I will do.
Yes. And Kamin, you have a strength.
I
period.
do. Well, I have a good strength,
Yeah.
so I will assist
You
in
can
this.
So Sludig, here's the tall order that I will place on you. I will. Here's what we'll say. We'll call this a straight. Since you have help, DC 20 strength check. Not necessarily athletics, because you were just using just DC 20 strength.
But I do have advantage
You
since
do
I have help from
advantage,
Kamin.
correct.
I'm gonna spin the dial on the pocket watch clockwise.
Okay.
So I'm rolling a die.
So athletics would have been really nice, but I only got a 17.
No, you didn't, Drew. You got a nat 20.
No way!
I got a nat 20.
Nice.
Nice.
So in that quick moment, as the horse is sinking out of the mud, Sludig, you do what you do best. You just climb out, start grabbing onto the horse. Kamin, you don't even get out and help pull. You just reach into your pocket, spin the hands of the pocket watch, close the lid back up, and Sludig single-handedly pulls the horse. You know, you lift it over your head.
I pick things up, I put things down.
And you put the horse gently, mud-covered, but gently back onto safe land. Ooh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Oh god, poor horse.
The faint memory of failure in the back of my mind.
You're like, oh, I thought I wasn't going to do that, but that was easy, actually. Now, instead of arm wrestling competitions, Sludig's going to go back to Driftchapel and do horse lifting competitions.
Thinking I can.
Sludig, do the thing. Oh my god, unbelievable.
We saved Carson.
You should say Carson the horse.
I would have felt so bad letting it die that way. Like, I would have felt better abandoning it and just kind of having an ambiguous end to the horse versus watching it be sucked down into the earth in front of us.
Oh man, don't you just love this campaign?
Alright.
Now,
Cock the horse has been inspired.
It's canon. Yeah, who knows what would have happened if you guys went and pulled at that boot, or if you would have walked.
I pull up the no.
So it takes you a couple minutes to get everything back in order, get everything cleaned off, gauge the path ahead of you once again, but you can proceed. Now, how mean do I want to be?
Hardcore mode.
Let's
man.
do it. It's hardcore mode.
Exceptionally.
Horse
Oh,
is
boy.
saved. However, there's still path ahead before you've reached any kind of safe spot to park again. So Drew, once more, if you'll make another animal handling check, DC 15. It's getting harder the deeper you get into the swamp.
Well, I got that. I got an 18.
Okay, so Carson the horse survives this next little trek, about another half hour. And eventually, this time, you reach another, if it can even be described as a clearing. You reach just a simple parking spot where you see once more the faces carved into the tree, the strange bone talisman hanging from the branches. As you get there and begin looking around, gauging your surrounding, that same voice echoes back again. It says, "Well, please proceed and enjoy the bog." Now,
Oh, we will.
you all feel through the ground and mud and the carriage supports and wood, slight rumbling. Drew, I am deeply sorry for any horrific memories this might bring up. You all begin looking around, looking at the trees and mud and water. And you glance behind you, the way that you came from, and see hundreds, thousands of centipedes roiling up from the mud, water, holes in the trees and the branches, roiling across the surface toward you in a wave of chitinous hard exteriors racing toward you all. Now, this will be interesting because you're on horse and cart. We're going to be starting a chase scene.
Oh God!
As you race these
For the
millions of
mud.
centipedes. But for now, we're going to take a quick break as we get all the stuff set up. Sorry, the reason why I said that is because very early in my D&D career, Drew's dad was our DM. We had a very simple, in hindsight, uber simple encounter, random encounter on the fucking road. We were like level 7 or 8. We got attacked by a swarm of centipedes.
Yeah.
Just a few of them. Not that many. He almost TPK'd us. It was the worst thing ever.
It took us so long to realize, hey man, maybe
We can
retreat.
run. We can run away. But no, we almost died by these centipedes. It was embarrassing. It haunts us to this day.
Oh my
Mhm,
god.
mhm.
And now we're about to relive it, but bigger, better, stronger now. We will take a break and be back in a couple minutes to do this scene and
Oh,
round
boy.
out the session. We'll say 5 minutes, but who knows how actually long it'll be because we gotta pee. So we'll be right back.
We'll be
Stay
back.
tuned.
Right now, I need to change the filter on that more, but whatever. We're back.
What a great intro!
Logan ran to the bathroom, shotgunned a beer.
So, what am I doing? I didn't even put on the combat music, even though it's not really combat. It's like pseudo combat.
It's kind of combat.
So, you guys threw me for a loop and managed to keep your horse this whole time. So you were not on foot, however, the mechanics are easily changed. So, here's the deal. It's going to be structured very similar to combat. However, I will be honest, there's not much two heroes, because Sludig will be driving and all that kind of stuff. There's not much two heroes can do against a wave of insects. There's some, but you imagine there's probably not a whole lot you can do to stop it or slow it down unless you guys have some crazy powerful spells and abilities and things like that.
Mhm.
So for the time being, I will have everyone roll initiative. However, it'll be very limited to what the two passengers will be able to do in this scenario in the cart itself, as Sludig is trying to drive it to safety. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That seems kind of fair. Okay. Music even. Oh, hold on. I think I know what happened. Off. On. I hate that in OBS. Like, if something's not working, if you literally turn it off and back on, it works. I worked in AV for like 2 years, and that's pretty much
That's it.
true. That is true when it comes to technology, and I hate that it's true. Just
It
turn
should
it off
work,
and
but
back
it doesn't. Make it work again.
on. Yeah. First off, here's how we'll start. Everyone roll initiative. Drew, we will say you and the horse will share initiative.
That's unfortunate.
Oh,
Amino, what'd you get?
I got an 8.
Kamin?
17.
Okay, alright. That's something.
Mr. Magical Timepiece.
This may fuck up something really fast. We're still visible? Looks like we're still visible. Let me know if we're not visible in case something goes haywire. No, actually, I need to... Because you guys fucked up my chase scene here.
That's D&D for you.
That's D&D for you. So I'm going to put on the screen a little Roll20 map to help guide things. If I sent out a link previously for Roll20, you should still have, it's the same exact link as Over Driftchapel. You won't need to do anything, but if you want a more immediate visual representation of the map, you can log into the Roll20 and find it there. This is more for my own benefit, because it can be done theater of the mind. It's just easier to do with this. So there we go. So instead, I'm going to make Sludig's token just big.
Can you move the players to the page room on Roll20?
Can I move? Oh yes, I absolutely can. I'm a little dingus baby.
Yay.
So, as you can expect, rather than boiling chases down to mechanics, just kind of think about it in a normal narrative perspective. You are a certain distance from the centipede wave. Now, because of Sludig, the horse's movement speed is 40, so I'm going to put you 40 feet away from the swarms of centipedes. So now, mechanically speaking, you and the centipedes are going to dash every single round. That just makes sense. What gets complicated is whenever natural hazards and other things get in your way. What's up, Aaron? So when other natural hazards and stuff get in your way. Luckily, you're not competing with other creatures in front of you or behind you or anything. You are just trying to get the cart to safety. Provided that you can navigate the world around you and avoid any complications. But of course, the centipedes are chasing after you. You're trying to get away. First thing, it is difficult terrain. So the draft horse will be moving at half speed. So if you dash, the full turn is 40 feet. Which means if it gets slowed down any, that means the centipedes could gain a bit of ground on it. On top of that, you know, with your basic animal handling knowledge, if you push the horse too much, it will get exhausted and might not be able to make it too far. I have the draft horse's stats here, so I will be maintaining my own little tracker here for no particular reason. Unfortunately, I will go ahead and state on the straight up, things like Step of the Wind or the cunning action, dashes, things like that won't help the horse. Unless it is a spell cast on the horse or it is something explicitly for another creature.
Okay.
So, Kamin and Amina are in an interesting position. Effectively treat it like a turn of combat, action, bonus action, things like that. But of course, there's only so much you can do to help the horse get through the swamp. I will go ahead and say, to help plan your turns, Sludig's turn is packed full. Because at the start of his turn, he will need to make a survival check to analyze the surroundings, find the safest path. He will need to essentially use his movement and animal handling check to get the horse along that path into safety. So Sludig's turn is kind of eaten up. Yes, Drew.
I know, like, as soon as this starts and we're going to have to be moving as fast as possible, Sludig calls out, "One of you, I need help. Keep an eye on the road. I don't want to go off track and us get caught up by those people. Centipedes."
Yes, those people. Yeah, they fit into a giant humanoid.
Oh, God.
That's worse. I made it worse. I'm
Megazord
sorry.
You made it worse. For that, Amina and Amina and Kamin, you can take your action to give Sludig advantage on his whatever check he might need help with. But of course, I expect narrative reasons behind it. Just don't say, I would help him with the animal handling, but it's like, how are you going to help him steer the horse and control the horse? Alternatively, if you have a spell to slow down the centipedes, or if you just want to, for funsies, throw some attacks in the centipede's direction, you're more than welcome to. But you can also use your turn to help in some capacity. So of course, Sludig, you yelled that out as you were whipping the horse into 5th gear. Kamin, you're first. What do you want to do with your turn on the back of the cart?
Okay. Quick look out the area between us and the centipedes. I want to look for like some low-hanging branches or some dead trees or things like that. I want to try and hit some stuff with some Eldritch Blasts to knock it down into the path between us to slow them down.
I love it. So we'll say, that's your turn, but I'll have you make a series of checks here. First, make an investigation check to pinpoint, or perception, to pinpoint those branches.
They're both so fantastic. It's hard to choose. 7.
Okay, go ahead. Just make a single attack roll. So charisma and proficiency, just single one.
19.
19. Okay. So you blast some Eldritch Blast over to some low-hanging branches, and they swoop down, and you notice that as they do, the face carved on that tree moves to the side that essentially facing you. The branch gets in the way and knocks a few centipedes, but the entire horde more or less just kind of overwhelms it and proceeds.
Gross.
Yes.
Bonus action, I will summon my Tentacle of the Depths on the cart right next to me.
Sure.
So big, like a watery tentacle is there, and I will command Malachi to float up next to Sludig, and I would like Malachi to help Sludig by, this is just my thought process for him, looking at like the muddy patches of like water and mud and whatnot in front of him. I'll have Malachi use his freezing eye ray to try and freeze patches of mud and stuff in front of us so that it's easier to drive over.
You really thought that through.
Wow.
Here I was just thinking he's got like one
He's got
eye on
eyeballs.
either side of me, and he's like, go right, go left.
Yeah, no, he's doing
That's way
some
better.
work. Oh boy. let's see how this goes. If you will make an intelligence... No, hold on. This is going to have to be a survival check from Malachi.
I'm annoyed. What's your wisdom, buddy? Hey, I'm very glad you said with survival instead of intelligence. That's a +0 or a -4. He got a 19.
Yes.
Absolutely. So Sludig, a spot on the ground freezes as Malachi pops up, freezes the spot on the ground, pinpointing where you need to head to next, providing you, I would say, so since you don't have to make that check to find out where you need to go, I will go ahead and say, Sludig, go ahead and make the animal handling check. Oh wait, no, you're at 4.
Yeah, I'm at 4. So
never
unless the
mind.
centipedes did really bad.
I mean, they did bad, but not that.
Not that bad.
Yeah, I did pretty bad.
So if you have eyes on the roll 20, the wave of centipedes move forward a whopping 40 feet. And so the way I'm doing this is I'm not going to move the centipedes. I'm just going to move the Sludig token to indicate distance. And so you can see that goes on for a while. So they use their entire turn roaring up onto you to the point where by the time next up is Amina, you look down and there are centipedes falling into the back of the carriage. Oh shit, there we go. As they roar and roil across the surface of the marsh. And Amina, it is your turn now.
Perfect.
I totally forgot something.
Did we lose video, or is that just...
It may have gone off for a second. Is it?
It's back now on my
It
end.
looks back on.
Yeah, there's some juggling
Right as I
happening.
say it. My bad.
Need to rewind a moment. Drew, if you'll roll a d20 for me.
18.
Awesome. Oh boy. Amina, you look
Yes.
down and see loose centipedes falling into the back of the carriage.
Okay.
You look up and notice that the path that the carriage is currently headed on is eventually going to take you through a small, little island of thickets and plants and brush and swamp milk flowers. So you imagine that once the horse hits that brush, your carriage is going to slow down, might hit up that swamp milk, something might happen. At the very least, it's going to be slowed down. So coming up on a little bit of a hazard.
Oh boy, I have some choices.
While you think about that, in response to Rachel, I added a bunch of extra centipedes in the back of this token. It's I loved it to indicate a little bit of a swarm. I almost used an actual picture of centipedes, but that was. I know this is a horror campaign, but that was too graphic for me. Centipedes are gross. Bugs are
They
gross. Couldn't do it.
Okay. All right. So in the order of things I want to do, let's start with the most pressing. I'm gonna cast sleep on all these damn centipedes because they're right there.
They
It
are.
can happen.
I think I need to do too much research. Go ahead and start rolling the dice for sleep, the hit point amount.
Let's see. That's
It's a lot.
It is a lot. I need to see. It's a D8, and then I don't think. Is this a second level slot for me?
Before you do that, Amina,
Mm-hmm.
You are magically savvy.
Okay.
Just a few days before, you encountered a swarm of insects. Because of their powerful hive mind, they are not... It's not possible to charm or sway or manipulate that mind.
That's right.
And one of the things for sleep is creatures who can't be charmed cannot be put to sleep.
That's right.
So as you go getting ready all the components, you realize this is a massive swarm. They're too powerful to be put to sleep.
Crap. Okay. All right.
I couldn't let you do that again. I couldn't let it happen.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, geez. Okay. Well, all right. How big are these centipedes?
They're all, unfortunately, fairly normal sized centipedes, but there's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of them.
Oh, golly. Okay. I don't know if there's anything I can really do that would do anything on them that wouldn't also damage our cart and anything. Oh, okay. This might actually work. I'm gonna use acid splash on just kind of shoot it at the back, like as at the swarm, whoever's coming behind us, and just try and get them off our back. So let's see. That's I am level. Okay, so that's 2 of these.
And to be honest, they can't dodge, so just go ahead and roll the straight damage, and they'll take it.
Okay, so that's going to be 2d6. That's 9 points of acid damage.
I imagine like a huge chunk of them withers and turns black, slashes down into the water, and then there's like a few crawling around in the cart, and you just go like flip a little bit, pour acid on each one, like fuck you.
Yes.
Okay. They are right at the back side of the cart, and that brings us to Sludig's turn. Your path has been declared for you, but 2 things. The path is laden with thickets and brush and plants, and the centipedes are right up on your ass. So what that means is that it's going to be a double-tiered thing. First, you'll just have to make a check period to drive the horse. The horse will have to make a check to get through the brush, and then the centipedes might do something. So, first off, go ahead and roll your animal handling check.
It's only a 15. You said it was getting harder.
Yes, but 15 is good for now.
Okay.
It's good.
I say only, that's not that bad. I just
now for the poor horse, as he makes it to this frozen patch that Malachi has laid out for you. I don't think your draft horse is proficient in any skills. I would be deeply surprised if it was. Drew, if you'll roll a strength check for your draft horse.
that's kind of what it's good at.
Yep.
But not with me with dice. I got a 10.
Cock is inspired.
Oh, that is actually probably a pretty good time to use that.
Okay.
Ten.
We hope for the boys.
Now I didn't roll any worse.
That's fair.
I just rolled another 10.
That's fair. Drew, a 10 is what you needed. Cock the horse, or Carson the horse, rips through the brush.
Carson.
Purple flowers, who is it, John Woo? Purple flowers up around you in a cloud as you rip through it.
I don't know if that's the cloud I want to go through, though.
And barrels your way. Yeah, you all immediately get high. You slow down to half speed now.
Even better.
and barrel away. Now, here is where it's gonna get real interesting. If it wasn't already interesting,
I was gonna say, has it been boring so far?
Yeah, this has been super boring, guys. I'm going to roll. Oh boy! So you're essentially in an open-topped carriage. It's nothing fancy. You inherited it from that one random family at that bar for saving their lives. As it pulls forward, grasp-like centipedes are gripping the backside of the carriage, and as the horse pulls away, the centipede swarms and hold their position as they're chasing after you, and sort of the back, what is that called on a truck? The
Tailgate.
The tailgate portion of the carriage, that little wooden lid almost that keeps it closed that you climb in the back, that rips away. And now the back side of the carriage is open with just jagged shards of wood. That brings us back up now to the top with Kamin.
As it starts to rip away shards of the back of the cart, could I use my reaction as a guardian coil, part of the tentacle of the depths, and reduce the damage a little bit? By just like swiping some of them away.
I'd allow it.
Where's the damage reduction at? I think it's a D8. Yeah. So reduces the damage by 8.
Okay. So rather than completely ripping away the backside, there's just sort of clear, you know, those stereotypical movie shark bites on a surfboard. There's just ripped away pieces of wood on the little tailgate, but not significant damage. Rad.
Okay.
Now, Kamin, it is your actual turn.
Okay.
And let me move this back up because you guys moved the full 40 feet back away from the centipedes.
Fuck.
Keep forgetting stuff.
Uh-oh.
Drew,
Yes.
if you'll roll a d20 for me.
Oh, yikes. 16? I don't know what these rolls are for.
Okay. Eamon, go ahead.
Oh, God.
Oh no.
That's my favorite thing!
Here, don't mind me rolling a personal sanity die at this point. This is D4.
What is Drew's
One.
sanity die at? Swapping. Okay, so Malachi is going to float towards the back. I'm going to run up towards the front.
Okay.
I'm looking out for more obstacles like we just passed. There are more bundles of thickets, down tree limbs, things like that. Do I see anything directly on our path?
Oh, that is great. I will say, are you willing to take your action to do that before I just say, do it, that's your turn?
I would like to look for something in the way and then Eldritch Blast it out of the way, if that would be possible. If not, I will use the action to look and try and guide Sludig somewhere else.
I think it'll probably take your action to search out for
Okay.
potential hazards. Mostly because, well, as of now, in this moment, you don't necessarily know what path Sludig has to take, so you're not sure which hazard might be in the way at the moment.
Yeah.
So unless you want to help Sludig do that, but up to you.
I will help Sludig. Kamin will use his action to aid Sludig. I use the help action. Bonus action, I will command. Because we're not next to them anymore. I will command Malachi to do some I-beam attacks, and then Malachi will also do some I-beam attacks on his turn. So I got to roll to see what they are, because it'd be too simple if I could just choose.
I like to imagine that the centipedes ripped sort of a curved hole in the tailgate, and Malachi fits perfectly into it. Now you have a Malachi turret at the back of the carriage.
Okay, well, the first one is the fear ray.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't know if they're immune to fear or not.
I'm sure they are. They're immune to charm, so I assume they're immune to fear. Oh, okay. Yep, immune to frightened. Yep.
Cool.
I just can't read.
Second ray is the frost ray. I need them to make a dexterity saving throw, or are we worrying about that?
No.
Cool. Could have been better, could have been worse. That is 10 points of cold damage.
Woo-wee. You little frozen centipedes fall to the ground. Malachi licks his lips. Stupid.
And that is my turn.
Now. Centipedes, using their movement, action, etc., essentially reset the status quo and get back up, gnawing at the back end of the carriage. Oh boy. Sludig. Oh no, Amina. Back in Station 0, the centipedes are clawing and biting and chewing at the backside of the carriage. You're sitting next to Malachi while Kamin is up near the front helping Sludig guide. Amina, is there anything you want to do?
I mean, I don't know if there's really anything much I can do to help aside from just keeping on splashing acid on these guys to see if I can slow them down, but I don't know if that's even working at this point. Is there... I don't know if there's even an action that I could, actively cast on either Sludig or the horse, because most of my abilities have to do with myself. Jeez. One time a rogue is not really useful.
I did it! I did it! Victory!
It's always the giant centipedes and the centipede swarm.
Because we're not really stealthing our way from anything, and God, okay, fuck it, fine. I guess I'm just gonna use Acid Splash again to try and shake these guys off as much as I can.
And roll some damage.
Okay, that's 1, 2. Okay, that's 7 points of acid damage.
I'm about to do something very horrific to the Roll20 if you happen to be in there.
Oh boy.
Oh no. They're multiplying.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no.
Hey,
Oh, we got one of them out, maybe?
Why?
Yep. One of a lot, and maybe even more. So, with that, Sludig, to find the path, essentially, go in and make your survival check at advantage.
Praise be advantage. That is not another 6. That is a 25.
Perfect. Not only do you find the path, you see that there are no hazards in your path. So you manage to truck on forward. Go ahead and make your animal handling check.
Now here's where it gets rough. 6.
All right, anybody got some inspirations? Any bonus things? Any reactions?
I have used Cox inspiration already.
I will throw my last point of inspiration at you.
Changing the D20. You know, it's worth it. Dirty 20. We're on the road.
So now, Kamin, do you want to attempt to do the same thing? Protecting the carriage from any further damage? Using your tentacle?
Oh, yes. 1 point of damage reduction.
Oh, okay. So bring that image back into your mind of tailgate back and getting ripped out. Final amount of damage done. So now it's kind of open. So effectively, if someone gets pushed straight back to the back of the carriage, you could potentially fall off.
But there's a rope tied to your waist.
You're just getting dragged along.
Dragged behind and smothered by centipedes the whole way. It's worse than death. Sludig, you can hear and feel Cock the horse, or Carson the horse, whoever it is, start to snort. You can hear him starting to snort and start to keep pushing forward, but getting a bit winded. So now that brings us... Oh! Sludig, roll a d20 for me.
Like
2.
Rad.
You mispronounced bad.
Nope, that's fine. No, we're fine. Kamin, it is your turn.
I had a weird thought. I have a question. When we've observed these cultists of Katu ingest one of the Gloam creatures, was it an instant process or did it take time?
I think it's only happened once, and it was fairly instant. You recall, at least when Aveline did it, she sort of had this sort of hybrid form where she was sort of still herself, but fishy skin and coloration and stuff like that. And then the next moment, fishy person and dived away. So, slight
But
delay,
still,
but
like,
fairly instant.
A hybrid of fish and person.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Just putting that away, filing that away for now.
Oh god. That I think the way that question feels is the same way just me asking you guys to roll a d20 then not saying why. I think that's the DM version of that.
I'm gonna jump. Kamin is gonna jump back to the back of the cart and let loose some Eldritch blasts at the swarm of bugs. Do I need to bother rolling?
You're going to hit. Just roll some damage.
Cool. Fuck yes. I have agonizing blast, right? I do. 23 points of force damage.
Watch this.
Ooh.
Baby.
And then Malachi sends some I-beams their way. Why am I rolling d20s? I need to roll d4s. Oh, fuck. Yes! So first one is a frost ray. The second one is a telekinetic ray. Don't know what that's gonna do to it.
Go ahead and roll frost damage. I'm gonna need a toilet cat again. Toilet cat's in the chat. And we will decide what the telekinetic ray does.
Oh golly. Quickest way to make a rogue useless. Keep her still.
Well, if we weren't on the cart right now, the two of you would be fine between cunning action, dashing, and step of the wind.
I mean,
I'd be fucked.
I'm actually faster than the horse.
Yeah.
Without
Maybe
the
you should
cunning
pull
action.
the cart. But I got 30 feet of movement, and that's it. So
Okay, maybe I'll just carry Kamin.
I'd be okay with it. I do have the ring of swimming that we got, so maybe if I could just find a stream and swim the whole way.
I don't think centipedes are water bugs. You could just go underwater and hope to be safe.
This is a good plan. I like this plan.
I mean, there are probably worse things under the water, but...
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to
hello.
know what's attached to that boot we just passed.
Yeah.
There's a fucking angler fish with a boot on the end of it. Oh,
Oh man.
Don't know what I just missed, but so Eamon, cold damage first.
first cold damage, 9 points of cold damage.
Okay.
And then the telekinetic ray. Make a strength saving throw or be moved 30 foot away from the gazer. So I just like push a bunch of them further back.
Yeah, so essentially here's how we'll do this. You said 30 feet.
Yes.
I will have just the entire brood, the entire wave make the save.
Okay.
And if they fail, you guys increase your distance by 30 feet away from all of them.
Go,
Malachi
Malachi!
throws up a sort of telekinetic wall and just stops them for a moment.
Do that again.
So, oh man, I wish I took it away a long time ago. I wish I had some kind of on-screen thing. Maybe I'll do the roll 21.
Box of Doom.
Is that in the settings to do 3D dice?
I don't remember. I just know that I have it.
Enable 3D dice. There it is. Let's see what happens. I need to roll a d20 here. They are not strong.
Oh no.
What is Malachi's save?
Malachi's save is my save, which is 15.
So they got a natural 18. What is your save?
15.
They got a natural 18 minus 4 for a 14.
Oh,
So you all are able to increase your distance by an additional 30 feet, putting you 70 feet away.
These
Bless.
Tasha's Cauldron, Pact of the Chain Warlock invocations are the fucking best.
Wow.
Aye, but
Okay, Malachi MVP.
have to treat Malachi. Yeah.
Oh shit. Awesome. That brings it now to the centipede wall. So they are only able to increase the distance by 40 feet. So you're still 30 feet away. Still a good distance. They are nowhere near causing harm to you. Perfect. Amina, you'll be my victim then. Amina,
oh boy.
if you will roll for me, get your dice ready, and if you'll roll a d12, it is one that has the pentagon face. Pentagon?
Okay. All right, and it doesn't matter if it's the double-digit one or not.
Pentagon
That's a
face, so
D10.
d12.
Oh,
One more.
derp. I got it. Okay.
Good. I had to count the sides. I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
5.
I got a 4.
4 monkeys fall from the sky.
As the cart is barreling forward, and you're reaching this next spot of land that Sludig has pinpointed, there's, of course, a tree that has sprouted up next to it. All low-hanging dark leaves just drooping from them. You notice that the shadows cast by these leaves start reaching out towards Sludig as the carriage is passing by. It is your turn, so what would you like to do?
Okay. Is it okay? Hang on. Gotta look up a spell and see if this can work. Damn it, humanoid. Okay, never mind. All right. Okay, so how many branches exactly is it?
It's not the branches, it's
Or-
the shadows behind them. Just these kind of loose tendril-like fingers of shadow.
Ooh.
Almost like smoke reaching out from the tree.
Well,
And
okay.
I would say the least you can do is just shout to Sludig and say, "Look out," and sort of help him, give him advantage on whatever check he needs to make for it. Or if you have a spell or ability or something that can help as well.
I mean, the only other option other than that, I would say, is if we could like, let's see here, we would have to like spice up True Strike. I mean, because that would be, according to this, it's based on combat. But like, could I theoretically just like touch Sludig, like give him True Strike, and be like, "Yo, watch out for
Yeah,
this."
that could be the flavor for yeah.
Okay,
that could work. Yes,
that's what I'll do.
That works definitely. So you do that.
And then he will gain advantage on it. Well, it says his next attack roll, but
that's fine.
Yeah.
So Sludig, your turn gets thicker by the round. Before you can,
That's how I like it. But
as you go to start looking for the path ahead, ready to push the horse forward, you feel Amina's touch on your back saying, "Look out." And so the first thing, I guess I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to get your path straight first, or tend to whatever Amina is warning you of?
I'm gonna get the path straight first, because I want us to maintain this distance. Hopefully, I'll be able to grunt through whatever bad thing happens.
So if you will go ahead, first off, make a survival check for me. Kamin, did you help him?
I did not.
Okay. So
No one did.
just a
It is
straight survival check.
round 23.
That's fine. You pick the path, you find the path of most grass and least bubbles. And then wherever you clock it, and you say right there, you get the horse readied, and then you turn over your shoulder to see tendrils of shadow reaching from the tree you're passing by. Not just reaching for you, but by this point, they have their finger-like tendrils wrapped around your arm and your leg and your side, attempting to pull you from the seat of the carriage. So if you will make me a strength saving throw at advantage.
Thank you, because that's the difference between a technical fail for me, because I get a 2 on one and a 19 on the other. Strength saving throw is +7, 26.
Heck yeah. Fuck off, Shadow Beast.
What does Sludig do as he is focused on driving this carriage, and this shadow's like, let me try and put. What does Sludig do?
But that would tickle
So
you, man.
Amina says, watch out. And so I know something is coming, and I'm giving like this vigorous like shake of the reins to get the horse in the right directions. And I guess I go a little too hard with the reins, and I just like rip away from the tendrils, not exactly knowing if what pulled me was what I was supposed to be looking at.
Yeah, what was that?
Is my cape still there? Like,
awesome.
golly.
And so with that, you can make your drive check, your animal handling check, unhindered. Your turn's not over. You're still got something to do.
15.
Okay. So I assume still dashing, still pushing the horse forward. Unless you want to change the horse's pace or gait.
I'm going to give it a 1 round rest. We've got a lead. We'll just go
Okay.
We won't take the dash action.
So you're at 30.
If we
so
have
push you
to,
up
I want us
50.
to be able to push again.
Gotcha. So you're 50 feet away from the centipedes, and Drew, if you'll roll a d20 for me.
Huzzah. 10.
Okay.
Oh no.
Kamin, it is your turn.
They are far away from me, but I'm
50
I'm a
feet.
I'm a be a warlock, and so I started blast.
Started blasting. I
Um,
rolled the damage essentially.
Well, and for flavor, I want to grab the matched pistols that I yanked from. I don't even. You just said her name not that long ago. And I cannot.
Aveline.
Aveline, and I'll just pull those out as if I'm firing the gun, but I'm just shooting Eldritch blasts out of them. Yeah, shooting some damage. Oh, haha. 17 points of bludgeoning damage from the Eldritch Blast.
Bunch of dead centipedes splash into the water.
And then some more eye beams. That's Logan, that's 2 4s.
Which is
2 telekinetic rays.
Malachi.
Oh, golly.
So we're getting Malachi a crown.
let me zoom out a little bit here. So you're at 50 feet. Telekinetic ray. First one, they need to make a strength save, which they have a -4 to. That is a 7 and a natural 2 for a -2. So 60 feet gained up to the 110 mark. Bwah, 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 bwah.
Nice.
This is very good timing. Amina, I assume there's nothing you are able to or want to do at this distance.
I mean, aside from, giving my pals a pat on the back with that good old True Strike magic.
Help Sludig
Not
with
really
whatever
much I
he's
wanna do.
doing. Man, and Drew, you played it good with giving the horse a break, because at this moment, as this distance separates Amina, Kamin, and Malachi, you see a massive form, a silhouette, break through the tree line behind you as a massive toad, maybe 15 feet from end to end, splashes into the water, into the mud behind you. All of your hearts just for a second. You can see, like frogs, toads have those spots on their backs and along the bumps and warts. Sludig has saved this, but Kamin and Amina, you see Gloam vapors on these black warts and spots on the back of this toad, radiating off like as this cloud of gloam on its back. If I can get Kamin and Amina to both make a sanity roll for me real fast.
Oh, no.
I'd rather not, but okay. I got a 1.
7.
Oh, Daniel, if you will, I will let, how is Amina feeling during this scene? Is she feared for her life, or is she determined to get out? Is there, what level of horrified is she?
I mean, it's a mix of both, I would say. Because, first of all, on a practical level, all of the skills that she's used to using, sneaking around, moving around, she's stuck on the damn cart. She can't do crap. So of course she's gonna feel a little helpless. But on the other hand, it's she could throw a crossbow, but before it was a whole bunch of centipedes, and it's what good would that have done? So it's she's been around a while, and of course she's determined to succeed. But the longer that has been going, it's oh god, I'm running out of options for what to do. Very much how I'm feeling right now.
I'll shift the blame a little bit. Kamin succeeded. Bradley, roll a d20 for me.
Oh, what? I don't like that.
Oh no.
Watch me.
I put everyone in the hot seat all the time. This campaign is the hot seat. That's like the subtitle for the campaign.
That is a 19.
Awesome. So Daniel, if you will do me the honor of rolling a d10 for me.
Okay. D10. That is going to be a 9.
As this massive toad leaking gloam jumps out into the wake of your cart, it lets out this deafening, thunderous croak that just echoes and resonates beyond what should be capable of even just a normal monstrous creature. So let me roll something here. A little unfortunate. There we go. So unfortunately, Amina, this thunderous croaking sound, as it resonates and reverberates, it feels, you know those kind of migraines that hurt the back of your eyeballs? That happens. Feels like your eyeballs get tense and swell a little bit with this head splitting pain. You take 12 points of psychic damage.
Oh, golly. Okay.
Kamin, it is not nearly that oppressive of a croak. However, it is loud and unnatural. But what saves you is you look up and see that this toad is not facing you. And instead you watch its tongue go stick out and gather up a cluster of about 120 of these centipedes on the end of its tongue and swallow a bunch of them. And it starts, not with one tongue, with multiple tongues, grabbing at this horde of centipedes that has been slowed by this telekinesis, swallowing them up, effectively allowing you to escape and make it out of range of this wave of centipedes.
Thank you.
Oh man. So
Goodness.
Sludig. Yeah, he was getting close to being tired, but because you decided to wait off on that last little bit, he's okay. Your horse is fine. You survived this onslaught, and because of just rolling dice, you managed to summon a Gloam creature that lives in the swamp that just happens to eat centipedes.
Eat some. Hell yeah.
Oh, golly. Okay.
So,
That could have gone so horribly, and it went so
could've
great.
gone so horribly. Yeah, there were, and at the back of my mind during this, like, whenever let me restart. Originally, I planned you guys to be on foot, which you can imagine how
Difficult.
difficult that would have been.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the carriage, I was like, well, I don't know what Kamin and Amina are going to be able to do, which also doubly adds to the challenge because then it's all on
It's
Drew
all on Sludig.
rolling
Yeah.
well. And that's
Yeah.
it.
Also, shout out to everybody who was like, "Yo,
Take
Cock
this.
needs some inspiration."
Yeah. Take points of inspiration. Yeah, because then, like, if that fucks up, then you're all fucked. Like, it's kind of all
Yeah.
or nothing there. And that was, but this would have been another point of tension. If you guys had been on foot, Amina would have been fine because of freedom of movement. She would have moved easily through the
she'd been
swamp
gone.
and been out and gone.
Oh, I'm faster than the horse.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have died.
Yeah, Kamin would have been the first lot in the swamp. He would have been the upside down boot.
Oh, it
So-
was what could have been, is what that trip showed you.
Foreshadowing, a little warning. So, yeah, that I am uber proud
So,
and impressed by you guys.
by-
That was good.
Me using the watch to save the horse's life saved
Yes.
my own life.
Oh, yeah.
See, I feel like that's this whole campaign is I designed something that I'm like, there's no reasonable way that they can survive this, but then the rolls go the right way every once in a while. Like rolls went the right way 3 sessions ago, and now they're coming back like, ugh.
That's why we play this game.
Why we play this game. So,
I mean,
yes, go ahead.
No, I'm just Malachi.
Malachi!
Like
Freezing the path,
MVP.
telekinetically stopping
Malachi.
all the centipedes. I was serious about the crown.
He'll wear it happily and proudly.
Yeah, you go up and meet the bog witches. They ask who speaks for you. You gesture to
Malachi. We are his humble servants.
They try to read his mind. There's too little going on that they
there's
don't understand what we're here
happening.
for.
Oh man. So, as the carriage comes to a slow, steady trot or slog through the mud, you all finally notice one final little clearing of mouths and faces on trees and a dangling bone charm. This time, though, the environment changes, and you see that tombstone-like structure that was rumored to be here. It's not just a tombstone-like structure. You could see it from a distance, but now actually seeing what the structure is, the nature of mythology starts to make sense. It's a tower. It's a watchtower built by guards and soldiers for war or maintaining boundaries of nations. A simple structure that, in the time before the Gloam, was common and very normal to see. But now it's old, decrepit, covered in mold and moss and swamp gunk. And in an era where they go unused and are ruins, it makes sense that they'd been mistaken for massive tombstone structures being seen from a distance. As you start to trot a little bit closer, the ground and, well, first the water starts to give way to actual ground, solid ground. So at least you're able to relax just a bit. The one thing that's off about this watchtower, and of course, imagine classic Elder Scrolls or other fantasy watchtowers, a single straight-up tower, wooden door that seems to have been rotted away and rebuilt, little arrow slits, very classic looking. Except for one strange feature that stands out amidst the rest of this gray marsh is an unbelievably large flower bulb that almost seems to be growing out the backside of the tower. It's kind of closed up slightly, you know, as flowers do near sunset-ish. And when I say massive, I mean it has about a 10 to 15 foot diameter. It's a large flower bulb. And specifically, it's red, bright red, deep red. Uncharacteristic for the bog around you. Is there anything you would like to do in this moment as you approach? Waiting to park the cart.
Just keeping an eye out, observing.
Is there would Amina be able to identify like kind of what it is, what type of flower it is?
Go ahead and make a nature check for me and do it with advantage.
Okie dokie. Nature. Okay. Whoops. It's this one. Why are you? Okay, good thing that was at advantage because the better one was a dirty 20.
As the cart slowly creaks forward, comes to a stop, horse steam out of its nose, huffing and puffing. You're looking at this close-up red flower bulb growing from this tower. And you immediately recognize the type of flower it is. It's a rose. That is sort of giant, but kind of closed up and perched at the top of this tower.
Okay.
So, do we just knock on the door? Or...
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to keep an eye out, see if there's any signs of life, you know, smoke coming from a fireplace, light on a candle.
Easily done. You can see through the arrow slits of the tower some light. Some form of candle, torch, lantern, something. But also, a little unnerving. Around the base of the tower, you see an abundance of natural life. Animals, little vermin skirting around, rabbits jumping from brush to brush, birds flitting from tree to tree. But if each of you will make a perception check for me, or a nature check.
18.
16.
8.
Classic. Sludig and Amina, at sort of different intervals, you clock plants that uproot and move to a different spot and move around. Plants that wave in the breeze whenever there is none, or seem to brush up against something or reach over and essentially tap another plant on its bulb. Whatever, it shouldn't be doing that. So there's life, and too much life.
Interesting. Did you mention, like, you said this is a clearing, right? Like, there's a lot of sunshine right now if it were still daytime?
There would be, but because it's getting close to probably 5 o'clock at this point, it's so much overcast, it's just kind of gray. And it's clear.
Okay, all right. Cool. Well, I think we're here.
Yeah,
sorry. If we we certainly took quite the ride to get here. Be careful what you step on here. We don't want to offend anyone.
I feel like it might step on me back.
Exactly.
I move over and I put our horse away from all the strange moving plants in as open of an area as possible.
You get the horse all settled and stationary, roped off to a nearby tree. You get all your stuff together and stand at the edge of the clearing. And as you take those first few steps to approach, you see a bit of movement. And as you look up, that giant rose bulb sprouting off of this tower opens up into a full rose. And then it moves and detaches from the tower. You see vine-like tendrils wrap around the edges of the tower. The rose moves to the front of the tower, almost using these vine-like tendrils like legs. It almost looks like a plant spider walking across the surface of the tower. It eventually stops for a moment, and a strange plant-like appendage wraps up from beneath the flower, and it grows and turns into the torso of a woman. Arms, chest, neck, jaw, and then the top part of the skull grows out into a variety of plants, stems, stalks, and leaves. No eyes, nose, or anything. Plants on top of a jaw. It starts to crawl down using this. You've seen driders in the monster manual, or just spiders in general. It's like that, but instead of a big spider butt with the body, it's a giant rose with a body branching from it. Crawls down. Very impressive indeed. And you notice that the jaw is not moving. It's all being done what you think is telepathically. But Amina, you notice something familiar. And Sludig, you'd probably pick up on this. They're little spores. Little bits of dust and motes of energy floating through the air. You imagine just inhaling this is letting this creature speak to you. It inches its way forward, crawling across this ground, this big rose body and twisted, warped woman of a torso as it creeps closer and says, "Welcome to the Irwhile Bog. I'm quite impressed." Amina? Is that you? And that's where we're going to stop for this session.
God.
Hey man, when I have nightmares, you're gonna be awake, right?
I will bill you my therapist costs.
Oh,
So
Daniel.
Amina is a bug witch and has been this whole time.
Oh,
That's
God.
the takeaway
I
from this.
think I know it's.
Yep, you know.
I
And
know.
I will tell you, you know.
I-
But we'll
I'm not
reveal
saying a
it
thing.
next
Not
time.
saying a thing.
Who is this horrific monstrosity that Amina knows? Oh man. Yeah, and it's funny you guys decided to visit the Bog Witches because at the start of the campaign, I got your backstories. So much of it in the background linked to the Bog Witches, and then very early you guys are like, let's go talk to the Bog Witches. I'm like, well, all right.
Here we go.
Oh man. So excited. I was telling Rachel, like before we started playing, I was like, the thing I want to reveal is the cliffhanger. I planned it to be the cliffhanger, but I was like, but part of me wants to just erase the whole session and just start with that and then keep going. So I'm just so excited.
Oh, God. Okay.
I like above and beyond expectations for the reveal of the Bog Witch. Like
Yes,
instant
that was
Dark Souls
fantastic.
boss music started
Yeah.
playing in my head.
Good.
First thing I was thinking was, thank God I didn't use any spell slots.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh man.
2 weeks. Fucking
2
2 weeks.
weeks.
What a cliffhanger.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Indeed.
You're welcome. And I'm glad that the chase was actually. I was
This was
worried for you
awesome.
guys.
I was very worried because I felt as though it was like one very bad check from just failure.
Mhm.
Basically. Oh man, and I think something that really helped is the actual chase rules. I've always had like mixed experiences with, but
Mhm.
one thing, mostly because there's a 50% chance. Rewind. Every person involved at the end of their turn is supposed to roll a d20 to determine the complication for the next creature's turn. Oh no.
Ooh.
Who did a what?
Bye,
Open.
Daniel.
He'll be back probably. We'll see.
Oh God.
Oh gosh. Oh jeez. Let me just do this. Perfect. But there's a chance, essentially, at the end of each person's turn, they're supposed to roll a d20, and that creates the complication or hazard for the next person's turn. So essentially, Drew, you were creating the complications for the centipedes. Centipedes were creating the ones for you.
I'm terribly sorry
No,
about
you're
that,
fine,
guys.
you're fine.
No, you're good.
Let's see how well this worked. Hey, back to start. And there's a 50% chance that nothing happens, which is super boring. That's so boring. And so what I did is I took the Gloam effects from the Shadows Over Driftchapel supplement, and just added that into the nothing happens stuff. So essentially there's a greater chance that nothing, or lesser chance that nothing happens, and a chance that Gloam shenanigans happen, and then all the normal stuff. Which is why the shadows started to pull you off the carriage. And that's so much more interesting. And unfortunately, Drew, you rolled high on all of your checks, and therefore the centipedes didn't hardly go through anything most of the time. Except at the end, the toad.
The giant toad. I'll take
That
it.
toad is my best friend.
I was saving up.
Saving up. Oh, man.
I'm just a little disappointed that I didn't get to my Hail Mary. I'm not disappointed, but I am disappointed.
Don't say that. What was your Hail Mary?
I was going to feed one of the Gloam creatures to the horse.
Oh, no.
I was going to see if that would like revitalize the horse so that
The
it
horse
would
turns into
keep
some
running.
horrible angler horse.
Revitalize.
Oh, golly.
It turns into a seahorse.
Ba-dum-tsh.
Well, on that note, it sounds like
I'm gonna go be the boot guy.
Hang on, boys. Got to go be a boot hanging out of the bog.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone who was watching. Rachel, thanks for hanging out. Aaron, thanks for popping in. Win, thanks for popping in. Who else popped in that I may have?
Y'all are awesome.
Awesome.
Who was in Flames? Did I miss who that was? I don't think I know who
No,
in
but-
Flames is.
Yeah, and Flames gave us like a posture check and a hydrate forever ago.
And then
Nobushi
O'Reilly
Ueda came
Jr.,
too.
of course.
Yee.
No, but she waved it.
Nobushi Nueve. Man, it took me so long to figure out how to pronounce that screen name.
That's fair. Yeah.
But thank you all for popping in. Of course, be back here in 2 weeks.
We rate.
And if I could play this campaign every week,
It'd be fun.
there's just not enough time in the week, in the day, in the hour, in the minute. But 2 weeks we'll be doing this. A week from now, I'll be doing my first date night session. Playing some new tabletop RPG, probably involving cats and eldritch horrors. Not too dissimilar from this one. Sharn Nights on Monday, very likely. I will be traveling over the weekend, so there's a chance may have to delay a little bit, but we will see. Wednesday, Let's Make and all that sort of stuff. It's on my Twitch channel. New adventure on the DM's Guild, Patreon stuff, always. That cool pocket watch that Kamin used this session will be up on my Patreon tomorrow. Probably. I am driving tomorrow. I'll schedule a post. Along with the cool cloak that Sludig did not get the chance to use because he was whipping a horse
Driving.
all night.
Yeah.
Yeah, bitch, yeah. So with that, Bradley, even though we're not there anymore, what's the weather like in Driftchapel?
Snowing.
Good to know. Good to know. I'll make a note of that. Just look at the- All right, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.